the man everyone walked past. Rain hammered the streets of Seoul as a young black woman hurried beneath a broken umbrella. Her name was Amara Williams, a compassionate Nigerian-British woman who had moved to South Korea 2 years earlier to pursue her dream of becoming a professional caregiver. That night, she was late. Her small apartment was nearly empty. Her bank account was nearly empty. And the last message from her landlord had been painfully clear. She had 3 days to pay her rent or leave. But Amara had more important things on her mind. Across the street, underneath the narrow roof of a closed convenience store, a man sat shivering. His clothes were torn. His shoes were soaked. His hair was messy. A cardboard box rested beside him. Most people walked past without looking. Some stared. One businessman actually stepped around him as though he were invisible. Amara stopped. She looked at the stranger, then at the rain, then at the small paper bag of food in her hands. She sighed. She had barely enough food for herself. Still, she walked toward him. "Are you hungry?" The man slowly lifted his head. His name was Kang Ji-hoon. Or at least, that was what he wanted everyone to believe. Because underneath those worn clothes was one of South Korea's youngest billionaires. He owned luxury hotels, technology companies, private investments, and an international shipping empire. And he had spent the last 6 months watching people change around him. Women suddenly became interested when they learned his name. Business partners laughed at jokes they didn't find funny. Friends became servants. Strangers treated him like royalty. Ji-hoon had begun to wonder one terrifying question. If he lost everything, would anyone still love him? So he had created a secret identity. A homeless man with no money, no influence, no famous surname, no expensive watch. Nothing. He expected people to ignore him. He expected some to mock him. But he never expected the woman standing in front of him. Amara held out the food. "You can have this." Ji-hoon stared at her. "You don't have much yourself." Amara smiled weakly. "Neither do you." She sat beside him. And for the first time in years, someone sat beside Kang Ji-hoon without knowing who he was. That moment changed everything. But neither of them knew that someone was watching them from across the street. Someone who knew exactly who Ji-hoon really was. And that person had already decided that Amara had to disappear. The stranger with the secret. The next morning, Amara returned to the convenience store. Ji-hoon was still there. She brought him coffee. "You're still here?" He nodded. "I don't have anywhere else to go." Amara looked at him carefully. "What happened to you?" Ji-hoon hesitated. "My family." That answer was enough to make her quiet. She didn't press him. Instead, she offered him a job. Her elderly employer needed someone to help carry boxes and clean the garden. "It isn't much," she said, "but at least you'll have somewhere warm to sleep." Ji-hoon couldn't believe it. She was offering work to a man she believed had nothing. He accepted. Over the following days, something unexpected happened. Amara and Ji-hoon became friends. They ate cheap noodles together. They walked through the city. They laughed about terrible Korean pronunciation. Amara taught Ji-hoon Nigerian expressions. He taught her Korean slang. And slowly, the fake homeless man began falling in love. Not because Amara was beautiful, although she was. Not because she was intelligent, although she was. He loved her because she treated him like a human being when she believed he had nothing. But Amara began noticing strange things. Ji-hoon knew too much about luxury hotels. He understood business contracts. He could identify expensive watches. And one evening, while watching television, Amara saw a familiar face. She froze. The television displayed a Korean business magazine. Kang Ji-hoon, the billionaire who built an empire before 30. Amara stared at the screen, then at the photograph, then at the man beside her. Her heart stopped. The resemblance was impossible to ignore. But she convinced herself it was coincidence. Until the following morning, a black luxury car stopped outside the house. A sharply dressed man stepped out. He looked directly at Ji-hoon and bowed. "Chairman Kang." Amara heard everything. Her world went silent. The lie. Ji-hoon knew the secret was exposed. He followed Amara when she walked away. Amara, please. She turned. Please what? I can explain. You lied to me. I didn't lie about everything. You told me you had nothing. I wanted to know if you would stay when I had nothing. Amara's eyes filled with tears. So I was an experiment? No. You watched me struggle while you could have helped me? Jihoon had no answer. That silence hurt more than anything. Amara walked away. Jihoon didn't stop her. For the first time, he realized his experiment had gone too far. That night, Amara found an envelope beneath her apartment door. Inside was a photograph. It showed Jihoon standing beside a woman. The woman was Han Soo-jin, the daughter of one of Korea's most powerful businessmen. Written across the photograph were 4 words. He never loved you. Amara's hands trembled. Then her phone rang. An unknown number. Stay away from Kong Jihoon. Who are you? You don't want to know. The call ended. Amara looked out her window. Across the street, a black vehicle was parked. Someone was watching her. The woman from his past. Soo-jin arrived at Jihoon's mansion the following morning. She had grown up with him. Their families had once planned their marriage. But Jihoon had rejected the arrangement. Soo-jin wasn't angry because he rejected her. She was angry because he chose Amara. You threw away everything for her? Soo-jin asked. Jihoon remained silent. She doesn't even know who you really are. She knows now. And she still trusts you? Jihoon's expression changed. I don't know. Soo-jin smiled. You should. Then she revealed something. Jihoon's father had secretly transferred control of part of the family empire to him. But there was one condition. Jihoon had to marry someone from a wealthy family within 6 months. Otherwise, his inheritance would be taken away. Jihoon refused. I don't care about the money. Soo-jin leaned closer. You will when your father dies. Jihoon froze. His father was sick. Very sick. And his family had kept the seriousness of the illness from him. Meanwhile, Amara discovered that her own father had once worked for the Kang family. And he had disappeared years earlier. She suddenly wondered whether her past and Jihoon's family were connected. The confession. Jihoon found Amara at a small riverside park. I need to tell you everything. She didn't look at him. My father is sick. She remained silent. My family is complicated. I have enemies. People around me have always wanted something from me. He sat beside her. But you were the first person who gave me something without asking for anything in return. Amara finally looked at him. You should have trusted me with the truth. I was afraid. You. He nodded. I've never been afraid of losing money. I've been afraid of finding someone who only loved the money. Amara's anger softened. But she wasn't ready to forgive him. I care about you, she whispered. Jihoon's heart raced. But I don't know if I can trust you. He nodded. I'll wait. Before he could say anything else, a motorcycle sped past. A man reached out and grabbed Amara's handbag. She screamed. Jihoon chased him. The thief escaped. But something had fallen from Amara's bag. A small photograph. Jihoon picked it up. He stared at it. His face went pale. The photograph showed Amara's father, standing beside Jihoon's father. And between them was a much younger version of Jihoon. On the back of the photograph was a date. 20 years earlier. The secret that connected them. Jihoon took the photograph to his father's private office. His father stared at it, then closed his eyes. You finally found out. Who is Amara's father? The old man remained silent. Father. He saved my life. Jihoon froze. Years ago, there had been an attempted assassination against the Kang family. Amara's father had protected Jihoon's father. But afterward, he was blamed for a financial crime he didn't commit. The Kang family had paid him to disappear. Jihoon's father had always regretted it. He wasn't a criminal, Jihoon whispered. No. Then why did you let him take the blame? His father's eyes filled with tears. Because I was weak. Before Jihoon could ask another question, his father collapsed. The hospital became chaos. Doctors rushed in. Jihoon stood outside the emergency room. Then his phone rang. It was Amara. Her voice was shaking. Jihoon. What happened? They have my mother. Jihoon's blood ran cold. A man's voice came onto the phone. If you want her alive, come alone. The trap. Ji-hoon drove through the city. He didn't call the police. He didn't tell his security team. He went alone. The location was an abandoned warehouse. Inside, Amara's mother was tied to a chair. Amara stood beside her. And behind them was the man Ji-hoon had least expected to see. His own uncle. You. The uncle smiled. Your father built the empire. I built the shadow behind it. He revealed that he had manipulated the financial scandal years ago. He had framed Amara's father. He had arranged attacks against the family. And now he wanted Ji-hoon's shares. If you sign everything over, he said, everyone walks away. Ji-hoon looked at Amara. She shook her head. Don't. Ji-hoon smiled. For once, he wasn't thinking about money. He signed. The uncle laughed. But he didn't know one thing. Ji-hoon had already transferred the company's controlling shares into a legal trust. The document he signed was worthless. Security officers stormed the warehouse. The uncle was arrested. Amara's mother was rescued. But the story wasn't over. Because the uncle had one final secret. Before being taken away, he whispered to Ji-hoon. Ask your father why Amara's mother disappeared 20 years ago. The truth about love. Days passed. Ji-hoon's father recovered. He finally told Amara the truth. Her parents had once worked closely with the Kang family. Her father had protected Ji-hoon's family. Her mother had been forced to leave Korea after receiving threats. The families had been separated by greed and fear. Amara cried. Not because she wanted revenge, but because she realized how much pain her parents had carried. Ji-hoon stood beside her. I don't want you to stay because you feel sorry for me. She looked at him. I don't. Then why are you here? Amara smiled through her tears. Because when I thought you were homeless, I loved the person you were. Ji-hoon's eyes filled with tears. And now? She stepped closer. Now I know the billionaire. She placed her hand against his chest. But I still love the man who shared cheap noodles with me. Ji-hoon pulled her into his arms. For the first time, neither of them had secrets. But someone else was watching. Soo-jin. And she had just discovered something that could destroy their relationship forever. The final betrayal. Soo-jin met Amara privately. She placed a folder on the table. Inside were documents proving that Ji-hoon's entire homeless experiment had been recorded. Every conversation. Every date. Every moment. Amara's face fell. You recorded me? Soo-jin shook her head. Ji-hoon did. Amara couldn't breathe. He wanted proof that you loved him without money. The betrayal felt worse than the first lie. She confronted Ji-hoon. Was everything recorded? Ji-hoon couldn't deny it. I stopped recording after I realized I loved you. But you started. Yes. Then how do I know what's real? Ji-hoon looked broken. You don't. Amara walked away. This time, Ji-hoon didn't chase her. He finally understood. Love couldn't be tested like a business transaction. It had to be trusted. 3 months passed. Ji-hoon gave away the mansion. He sold several luxury cars. He started a foundation for homeless people. He opened shelters across Seoul. But he never contacted Amara. Until one winter evening, Amara received a letter. Inside was one sentence. I finally understand that love isn't something you test. It's something you protect. She cried. Then she smiled. Because the letter contained an address. The same convenience store where they first met. The man under the rain. Amara arrived at the convenience store. Rain fell softly. She saw him. Ji-hoon was sitting beneath the same roof. But this time, he wasn't pretending. No expensive suit. No security guards. No billionaire image. Just Ji-hoon. He stood when he saw her. I didn't come to ask you to forgive me. Amara said nothing. I came to tell you that even if you never return, meeting you changed me. She stepped closer. I was angry. I know. I wanted to forget you. I know. But I couldn't. Ji-hoon's eyes filled with tears. Why? Amara smiled. Because unfortunately. She paused. You're still the man I fell in love with. Ji-hoon laughed through his tears. She reached for his hand. But there's one condition. Anything. No more tests. He nodded. No more lies. He nodded again. And no more pretending to be homeless. Ji-hoon smiled. I promise. They embraced beneath the rain. Years later, Amara and Ji-hoon built something greater than a billion-dollar empire. They built a foundation that provided homes, education, and jobs for people who had once been invisible to society. And every year, on the anniversary of the night they met, they returned to that same convenience store. Because that was where a billionaire learned the value of humility. And where a woman with almost nothing taught him that true love was worth more than everything money could buy. Yendi. Sometimes, the person who has the least to give can give you the most valuable thing in the world. Love. And sometimes, the greatest test isn't discovering whether someone loves you when you're poor. It's discovering whether you can become worthy of their love after they learn who you really are. If this story touched your heart, like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because more emotional Afro-Korean love stories are coming. And tell us in the comments, would you forgive Ji-hoon after discovering that he had pretended to be homeless to test your love?